Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be doing some Destro Warlock PvP guide, and let's go ahead and begin. So let's go ahead and start off with the talents. Talents are pretty standard from the other guide I did, which is Balance Druid. And left side, there isn't really much changes I don't think you really need to do. I mean, you could go Amplify Curse if you want to make it so we're like melee or unable to critically strike you. But for the most part, this is pretty much what I always stick to. I don't really change anything else. So I would recommend the left side, and like I said, you could go Amplify Curse if you really want to, but for the most part, this is what I always run, and what works for me. You could also lower your cooldown on Dark Pact if you want, but do keep in mind you'll sacrifice more of your health, which I don't know if you really want to do that, because obviously being able to only sacrifice 5% of your health for shield is better than, I think it's like 20%. So yeah, the left side, this is pretty much what I would always stick to, and you don't really need to change anything else. For the right side, pretty much the exact same thing. I mean, you could also go Master Ritualist if you really want to. I did try that. But for the most part, the right side is what I always run. I don't really switch anything out for this. You could also get Rain of Fire to get like Stealthers out if you really want to. But again, this is the build what I've always run, and I don't really switch anything out. So Warlock was pretty simple. You don't really need to change anything else. And yeah, either you can always run Amplify Curse if you want to. Try out Master Ritualist if you want to instead. But for the most part, this is what I recommend, and don't really want to switch anything out. So now let's go ahead and go into honor talents. Right now, I pretty much always run Fell Fissure, which you can't really see because my camera is blocking, unfortunately, but I'm running Fell Fissure pretty much always. Another word, but if there's no casters, you could switch it out. Call Observer is another one you could always run, but unfortunately, again, if there's no casters, no point in using it. So switch out for Instincts if there's melee on you, so you can pour it out easier. And Shadow Rift is another one I always like to run, but it's not always needed. It just kind of depends on like the situation. Like for example, battleground maps, where you can make a really good place. Like for example, in solo Blitz lately in Eye of the Storm, I like to put the portal on the right side, because in solo Blitz Eye of the Storm, there's these pillars that kind of block it in the middle, and you can make them line of sight, and you can get that perfect chance to kill either a DPS or a healer if you teleport most of the group out. So Shadow Rift can make some pretty huge plays, and I usually play this most of the time. So the only talents I would really recommend worth playing are Shadow Rift, Call Observer, Instincts, Fell Fissure, and Netherward. I don't think Soul Rip is worth it. I don't really run Bonds of Fell. I don't run Bane and Havoc, and I don't really run Gateway Mastery, but those are the ones I would recommend, between just switching out whatever is good at the time. And yeah, pretty easy. Warlock's got, and that's pretty much the talents for you. Anyways, pretty easy. There's just, Warlock's just pretty standard. There's not really much to switch out on like Boomkin did, so. Yeah, with that, let's go ahead and move on to stats. Stats, you're basically going to run versatility, haste, then mastery, then crit. So, pretty much everything I have on my gear is right now haste. You can see, you're just going to want to run obviously so much haste, because it will obviously let you get your casts off faster. And that's pretty much all there is to it. And then if there's nothing else, then make sure you have mastery on it. And then of course crit. Pretty easy. Alright, up next is embellishments, and what you're going to want is the cloth pants, because when you get CC'd, which is obviously a lot, you'll become you'll get a buff that'll give you haste, that'll give you faster casts, which again is what you want, because like I said, you're going to be CC'd a lot, so extra haste to get your casts off is what you're going to need. The other one is going to be precog, which I currently don't have at the moment because I don't have enough sparks to make it, but yeah, you just want precog as your second one because that way you can bait out a kick and you'll be immune to CC for 4 seconds, and you can just get your cast off easier that way too. So that's pretty much it for the embellishments. Now for tier, right now I have the 2 set. The 2 set, in my opinion, is really nice because your periodic damage from Immolate has a chance to give you Dimensional Rift. So and you're going to be using Dimensional Rifts a lot, so imagine getting Immolate on a bunch of targets and you'll be able to get your Rift up quite a bit faster. So I have it on my gloves and my chest piece because the stats on them are really nice. As you can see, the Immolate gave me my Dimensional Rift really fast, so you can just use that and so on and so forth. It's really powerful tier. The tier piece I would recommend getting it on are gloves and chest piece, because chest piece has haste and mastery, which are 2 good stats for Destro, and gloves has versatility and mastery, which is good for Destro as well. As for the 4 sets, I'm not 100% sure yet if it's good for PvP or not. I know for sure 2 set is good. I didn't really get a chance to test the 4 set on PTR, and looking at this, yeah, it might be good, but tier set is nerfed in PvP, and unlike the 2 set, it doesn't really like give like anything particularly amazing. So I don't know if the 4 set's going to be good. If it is, my recommendations for the tier set would probably be shoulders, and then unfortunately, since we're running pants, it would have to be helmet, which unfortunately isn't too spectacular because obviously the pants have better stats. So yeah, I don't think the 4 set is going to be really worth it in my opinion. But that's just me. I probably won't end up using the 4 set. I think 2 set's just perfectly fine as it is. That way you can get better stats on normal gear. And that's just me. Now for the rotation, but before we get into that, I want to say I suggest making this macro for Havoc. It is really good for PvP. It's a set focus macro for Havoc. You put this on set focus. I'm going to target the training dummy instead. You put Havoc on him, and you can pretty much do your rotation on the person you want to kill. And then you just get your Chaos Bolts out, and so on and so forth. And you can just pretty much burst a target. And not to mention, my favorite thing is your Mortal Coil both targets, and your team and you can easily get the kill because you Mortal Coiled your main target as well as the target you got Havoc on. So I've gotten a lot of kills from doing Havoc Mortal Coil on my main target that goes into the Havoc target. It's just the best way to get a perfect kill at that time. The other one, it's not really required, but it helps out a lot as well, is the spell lock focus. So that way, if you have your target on set focus, you can push your interrupt, and it interrupts them. It's just basically standard. As for rotation, though, like I said, make sure you find your target you want to kill, then you put your other target on set focus that you want to, make sure you get your damage out on them, put Havoc on them, and then just get your burst out, and so on and so forth. And then make sure you Mortal Coil them both, and then for the most part, you should usually get your kill on whoever you want, thanks to the whole Havoc Mortal Coil combo. Other than that, it's just pretty much make sure your Immolate's on target at all times, Chaos Bolt spams, it's pretty standard Destro rotation. If you have a melee on you, make sure you have your portal up. Try to find a good spot. There's going to be times where there's no good spot to put portal on your wherever you're at. Like for example, if you're in an open area, there's no really good spot to put a demonic port at. But try to put a poor where you're at. And then if you're getting destroyed by melee, soul burn, demonic ports, you can't be slowed. You can continue kiting them up, like Curse of Exhaustion. And then for me, for when I face melee, I like to do Rift spam, and then Shadow Burn while I'm with that. And for the most part, it does get them pretty low. And then if necessary, I can go ahead and Moral Coil, get one Chaos Bolt cast off, because that's probably about as much as you're going to get. And then just continue kiting with Soul Burn, Demonic Ports, and Curse of Exhaustions. Maybe you'll get lucky and get a 2-set proc with Immolate, and you can Rift again. And just keep Shadow Burning, etc. You probably won't get much Chaos Bolt cast off, so that's probably like the best way you can get your damage in a 1v1 with a melee on you. You can also use Soul Burn Gateway to get away as well. So that's the best way I've dealt with melee. You won't obviously always win. The hardest melee, in my opinion, at least from what I've faced, have been generally probably Warrior and Rogue. Rets can give you a little bit of a hard time as well, but if you can time perfectly when you think they're going to stun you with Nether Ward, they can stun themselves. But that's if you can kind of predict it. Obviously, some people are really predictable in when they'll stun you, so you could probably get it to work. But for the most part, sometimes players can be unpredictable as well. That's pretty much the standard rotation. Obviously, summon Inferno when there's like a huge team fight, etc. You can do it in your 1v1 as well. Makes it easier to burst. But for the most part, that's pretty much it for Destro. It's pretty easy for the most part. There's really there's pretty much just like nothing you really need to change. So hold on, let me freak this thing so small. So let me know what you guys think of the PvP guide. If you have any more questions, let me know. Yeah, I'll see you guys for the next video. Peace.